Good afternoon, everybody. It's KingRayVet on Sunday, January 25th. I hope that came out. I don't know. Sometimes when I start, oh, what was that? When I start these lives, it takes a minute before people come in. Hello, Mason. How are you? This is the first time I managed to start a live with my computer. And, somebody else is in here too, but I can't see them. Um, anyway, I thought I'd get on and kind of chop it up with people. And what I have on my mind these days is all the snowflakes that have arrived on Substack. They should have stayed on Truth Social because they're getting their ass kicked. And the only down but resisting. Well, what do you mean, Mason? You're down? You feeling bad about the crap going on in this country? Can people hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? I'm trying these AirPods out because the last time I made a video and live, people can't hear me. And the chat is over there instead of scrolling on my phone. Yes, the fastest. Oh my God. The snowflakes, I call them snowflakes these days because they're so fragile. Hey B, how you doing? Oh, Crystal, I'm sorry. Yeah, I call it auto incorrect because it never gets anything freaking right. Um, anyway, how is everybody on this Sunday? It seems like things are just constantly happening all the time. Mr. Pretty getting Prete. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It looks like pretty, but with an I. So I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Uh, yeah, I'm hanging in here. I'm somewhat distressed by what's going on in corporate media, and let me tell you why they won't cover anything. If they do, the whole country will see it. And if the whole country knew what was really going on through these corporate media outlets, they would be in alarm. They would be in revolt. They might join the resistance. They might start a revolution. They might, God knows what they might do if the entire country knew what was really going on a daily basis. And they know that independent media, even though it's on the upswing, Peretti. Oh, Peretti, that's how you pronounce it. So they know that I lost my train of thought. Corporate media is complicit because they've turned into a propaganda machine for the extremist right wing, and they won't tell the truth to save their life. Actually, they're trying to tell the truth to save their life because if things if they announced what was going on a regular basis. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Independent media, although it is very powerful, the distribution and the speed at which things get around with independent media isn't anywhere near the speed of the television, the speed of corporate news, the speed of that's why they get in front of everything. And they get in front of everything, they spread lies, they spread all the bullshit that they're spreading, and it propagates lightning speed fast. And before you know it, everybody's believing the lies that this regime is telling them. And then it takes a long time to back that out. And those people that are watching Fox News, ABC, NBC, CBS, and all of the media outlets, um, once they hear something, they don't hear the opposite. They don't hear independent media because most of them are over here on Substack. And who knows um, really how many users are on Substack? I say it's not nearly as much as, news on TV. Um, but if they if they put the truth out there, people will revolt. They really would, which is why they've got to keep it quiet. What exactly is going on? And let independent media spin its wheels trying to get to millions and millions of people fast. They can't, we're always coming from behind trying to catch up with the bullshit that they've put out there. Yes, white supremacists never let truth get in their way. They won't even let the truth be told. If they told the truth, how many millions of people would switch, would say, "Oh no, this can't stand." Um, so they grabbed a hold and started ownership of all of the media, all of it. The media that travels lightning speed fast, they own all of it. So it was very strategic that they did that. Um, and it's a crying shame because we can't propagate that news fast enough. We're only talking. Substack is almost like a echo chamber of itself. Um, we're all split and firing mad about what's going on here, but are we 100 million people? Are we 200 million people strong? Our distribution channels are very narrow compared to corporate media. Agreed? So you watched the video of Peretti giving his vet patient final commendation. Yeah, Peretti was a really good guy. He got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time trying to help a woman stand to her feet after fucking ice shoved her down. And there's a woman, I'm really bad with names, so I can't really tell you who these people are. She's very famous. She's a historian, but she explained that those weren't actually ICE agents that killed Peretti. They were, what did she say? They were some kind of, correct. They're erasing everything. They're taking all our rights. They're the most lawless regime we've ever seen, ever, ever in the history of this nation. And they move fast. Border Patrol. That's right, B. So it was really Border Patrol that tackled Peretti. 7 fucking clowns. One of them started off with pepper spraying him in the face. Even when he put his hand up, he had a phone in this hand. He had this hand, or maybe it was the opposite, trying to shield himself from being sprayed in the face with pepper spray. He even turned his back, and the guy bent around him trying to spray pepper spray in his face. Then they tackled him to the ground. He had a weapon in his back uh, belt loop, the back belt. He had a concealed weapons license, but he wasn't anywhere near his gun. They grabbed his gun. And I don't know if they shot him with his own gun or if they shot them, if the other 6 Border Patrol agents shot him with their own guns. But they were spraying bullets at probably a dead body. Um, yes, yes, B. Heather Cock Richardson made a video either today or yesterday that explained, who these characters really were. But that ICE has become an umbrella term, and there's several different organizations or agencies or whatever that that comprise ICE, and so we never know who is doing what out there. The masks over their face, we can't tell who they are. People would have to be some pretty smart folks in order to, take a whole bunch of pictures from the J6ers and match them with who we're seeing out in these streets these days. But even then, that would not cover the magnitude of people that are ICE today. There's 3,000 of those fuckers, and I don't know how many uh, Border Patrol agents there are, or how many of any of the others there are. If they're wearing masks, we virtually don't know who they are. He discharged the gun at Peretti. Yeah. So, listen, I made a post today that said, this isn't the 1960s anymore, people. I know everybody's looking at not taking risks these days, trying to do it the peaceful method. Well, white folks are not trained for that. Um, and this isn't the 1960s. We aren't fighting over just civil rights right now. Fascism is a much bigger animal than the ones that we were fighting in the 1960s. Um, so, it was a completely different culture back then. There was unity back then. There was something that was going on back then that is not going on now. It's almost like the fracturing of the United States has done way more to harm than anything else because people don't know how. People who weren't around during the 1960s do not know how to create that kind of brotherhood in the United States. Yes, yeah, it was off to the side, but then they all pounced, and that's when people started. They pounced, and somebody got up and they started discharging weapons at Peretti, and they shot a really good man dead, and then turned around and covered it up. Of course, you know, uh, asshole made a law. I don't know how he keeps managing to do this, but he created a thing that if you aren't one of them, you are a domestic terrorist. That's what he has said about everybody who doesn't believe in what this regime believes in. Um, so no matter who you are, no matter what you did out there, even if you're just walking down the street and they happen to kill you, you're a domestic terrorist. And that is what they'll lead with every single time. Um, but again, I go back to the courage and the volume of people that were out there during the 1960s because of the Vietnam War, coupled with the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement was going on at the same time the war was going on, and then those two groups united. And then it went well into the 80s with the LGBT movement as well. Um, so, we were protesting for a long time out there. Today, people are afraid to do the real, even 7, 8 million people compared to 325 million people is nothing. And then they do it once and they go home. Let me tell you, the kind of protesting that went on during the civil rights movement, we sustained it for months and months and years. We didn't just do it once and go home. We didn't stop. See, I don't know what they think they're going to accomplish with these one offs. That is not working. And he'd be protesting every fucking day all around the country, not just when ICE pops up somewhere. And Minnesota is getting hammered. I mean, they had to go through George Floyd, then Renee Good, now this Peretti guy, and it's not going to stop. And while that's going on in the foreground, they're killing people in detention camps in the United States. And nobody's paying attention to that at the moment because of all these distractions, and they've got everybody looking here, there, everywhere. Or they get them focused on one thing while something else is happening in the background. So we'd have to be organized. There'd have to be coalitions. There'd have to be all sorts of things going on out there to keep an eye on all of these different factions of fascism. They're moving fast. They plan to have this thing in the bag by the summer. Yes, racism and civil rights, because that's basically where all of this came from. Oh, book recommendations. Oh my God. Uh, I can't tell you the title of books, but if you go to just find them, you don't necessarily have to buy them from Amazon, but you go on to that website, Amazon, and look for Black authors. You type that in as a keyword to search Black authors. Then, based on the titles or whatever it is that you find out there, then you can use that list to go buy the book anywhere you want, like Barnes and Nobles or some other place besides Amazon. Amazon, who's the man that owns Amazon? Anyway, he's part of the problem. Oh, you're asking people in the chat? Well, I don't know. I don't know who's in here. I'm not sure who's in here, but Libby app. But see, people have not connected the dots between the fact that this is about racism, it started about racism, and what's happening when they shoot a white person. The dots are still very far apart with people. They're not connecting the dots. They don't want to be associated with Black people. And I keep saying, welcome to being treated like a Black person. So get with it, folks, and learn history, because you're not going to learn it in classes anymore. They're trying to prevent people, teachers and instructors and professors. They're trying to prevent them from teaching this stuff. In order for you to understand the hatred that is being displayed by the right, you have to understand white supremacy and racism, which are hand in hand. You got to understand that in order to understand why nothing anybody is doing is making a difference with these people. And then while you're at it, study the Nazis in Germany in the 1930s. Because do you know that the Germans studied the way white people treated slaves here? That's where they came up with Nazism. Did you know that? It's always been about racism. Always. And then you get these white people running around. Why does it always have to be about race? What the hell about race? We don't want to hear about race. Well, the chickens are coming home to roost because y'all wasn't paying attention or listening to us. We're trying to tell you that this country is based on racism. It's deeply rooted. It's systemic. Look up that word in the dictionary. What does systemic mean? I should look it up and tell y'all what systemic means. Systemic. So, systemic means of relating to a system, especially when affecting the entirety of a thing. In this instance, entirety is the entire Black race in America with 3 Ks. And then they use that to spread it on all the other minorities in this country. Asians, Hispanics, Native Americans, even Indians from India. Anybody who is not white skinned, blonde hair, blue eyed, That's just a phrase. It doesn't mean you have to have that. But anybody who isn't white is considered in this entirety of a thing. And the system is, everywhere, everything that we do in this country is affected by racism. For me, it's rather easy. I'm almost pushing 70 years old, and my race is inside of my social security number. So they know who I am all around the country. Anything that I do, when it comes to business anyway, is known by these people, or anything that I have to supply my social security number to. It is known. My race, where I was living when I was born. What else is in there? Gender. Um, there's something else in it. Oh, the hospital I was born at, the zip code I was living at. I mean, look, all of that stuff is inside of social security number. Now, I have heard, let me get back to you guys. I have heard that they did away with that system, but who says? Who said that? Who said they did away with that? That is no longer in your social security number. Um, that's right, Kimbersy. So, sorry, let me turn this off. Um, so when it comes to housing, when it comes to buying, getting credit cards, when it comes to getting loans, when it comes to buying cars, when it comes to anything that we do, racism affects it. Now they make everybody show their ID so they know who we are from our fucking pictures. And then they can play their games that way. Uh, it's in everything that we do, not in what white people do. They don't care. But when it comes to all of the minorities in this country, they do care. Um, Angela Davis. Excellent choice. Who's that other guy, that gay man that went to Paris for a while? Very famous. Great orator, great debater. Um, Baldwin? Baldwin. What's his first name? James? So I think it's James Baldwin. That man will give you a bird's eye view of racism in a very, very elegant way. He was a great orator. The guy, he was amazing. He left and then he came back to the United States after he spent a long time in Paris. But everything is based on race. It isn't when you're white. That's how they fooled y'all from a long time ago, is because it's not about you. They don't care what you do. They only care what we do. And because of that, everybody just tuned out who wasn't black, who wasn't a minority, wasn't a BIPOC. I no longer use the term POC because they treat black people different than every other minority in this country. They wasn't lynching the other ones. Yeah, they know everything about everyone, but they don't care when you're white. So that systemic racism does not apply to you, but it applies to fascism. So now it's crossing over. And as it crosses over, all of a sudden white people are waking up and say, whoa, wait a minute. It wasn't supposed to affect us like that. It was only supposed to affect them like that. And when it was them, what did y'all do? You tuned out. It's like, nothing to see here. Just another black person getting treated unfairly by the system. Systemic. The system has us by the balls. Yeah, they don't care. If it doesn't affect you, you don't care. This world, I won't say world, this country, it's got a bunch of self-centered motherfuckers out there wondering why they can't find unity. Those two things are, the correct word synonymous? You can't be self-centered and care about your fellow man at the same time. You cannot. Self-centered means me, my. It's all about me. maybe my direct family members, maybe my husband and wife, maybe my kids, and that's it. Um, that how you gonna have unity and you think like that? You're locked into that system of not giving a shit about anybody but yourself. Um, there's just no freaking way that you're gonna even understand how to reach unity with that mindset. No way. Now, I don't know how, well, maybe because it's my age, maybe it's my generation, but I was born and bred and raised to care about my fellow man. I always have, I always will. When George Floyd got murdered, I was one of the only people that I even know of that said, "How come nobody didn't sneak up behind the motherfuckers and gang tackle them just to keep that man alive?" I would have went to jail for him, and I didn't even know him. But I know what he goes through. I know what he went through because I'm black. If you're white, nothing to see here. And everything that they did after that man was killed because they were stuck at home during the pandemic, um, was performative. When they were mad for a minute, and then they just went on about their business. There was a young lady that got killed the same day George Floyd did. A young lady. And the cop got out of the car and she was dead within a minute. He didn't even know what was going on. She's the one to call the police for protection. I don't remember she's a young black woman. I don't remember her name. I don't remember her name, but she got killed the same day. Didn't nobody care about that? Um, again, you know, a recording of the debate where Baldwin, you know, he made everybody listen to him in a way that turned whatever was going on in the conversation into a debate. He wasn't necessarily debating people. He was just very clever. He was very smart. And if somebody says something stupid, he basically tell them why, and it would end up a debate because they didn't want to hear it. Uh, Baldwin was great. There's other people that were in the mix, but if you don't understand racism, you won't understand what's happening today, which is to turn racism on its head and start pointing it at white people because you have been othered. We have been othered the entire time we've been in this country. The entire time we're dragged here. Um, so if you're not a white supremacist, crystal fascist, blah, 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 you have been lumped into other. That's how they're setting the mindset of the oligarchs, the cult, anybody who believes in Trump. I don't even want to say his name. Mango Mussolini. Um, I don't incorrect. uh, oh, excellent, Mason. Yes, fine. Post that link in your Substack notes of the debate that Baldwin won. I'm pretty sure he did more than one, but Kimbers, listen, people are still kind of watching this like it's a TV commercial. They're mad for a minute and then they go back to sleep until the next thing happens. People aren't doing anything about what they're hearing. All the people, all the lies they hear, all the videos they watch, all the podcasts they watch, it is not causing people to get up and act, get up and do something because Americans are comfortable, they're complacent, they're lazy, they don't want to do shit that's going to cause them discomfort. Well, black people live in a constant state of discomfort because we are traumatized always. We don't know what's going to happen 24/7, 365 days a year. So we live in discomfort. Um, And white people aren't used to living in discomfort. They're not used to their safety being ignored. We're used to that. Um, Well, yes, Nazis are in charge, but the complacency of millions and millions and millions of other white people is concerning. It's just very concerning. How do we wake up people who don't want to be woken up? Um, I mean, literally, there are people out there talking about how they go tell their people what happened today, some atrocity, and they're literally saying, "I don't want to hear it." Really? See, they don't want to hear it until it happens to their family members. It happens to them directly. They think they don't have to worry. They think that they're not the cause of this. White people created this monster. We didn't create it. It was there before we got to this country. So we didn't create this monster. We may, out of ignorance and maybe even apathy and complacency, help to maintain it. But they are here and we didn't create them. So what we didn't create, we can't get rid of. That's why we've been screaming for over 400 years about these white supremacists, these Nazis, these people that are swapping places in history. Um, the only people that can get rid of them are white people. You're the only ones that other white people might listen to. They don't listen to us. Hell, even some of y'all don't listen to us. Not really. If we told you to get your fucking ass out there and start taking some of these ICE agents out, what would you say? Oh, violence. We can't do violence. Mm. So you can have violence done on you and you'll just lay down and take it. If we told you what to do, for real, for real, for real, you'd object. You don't want to put your life on the line for your freedom. You expect everybody else to put their lives on the line for freedom. I had a guy yesterday tell me that we have to help them. Everybody needs to be in this and everybody needs to unify. Really? Why? Um, y'all wasn't there for us. Anytime anything freaking happened, y'all turned the other way. You guys didn't care because it wasn't happening to you. That's what I mean by self-centeredness to a really crazy degree. Is that if it ain't happening to you, you don't care. When it happens to you, oh, here come all the white tears. But if it's happening to us, you don't care. There was another young man that was killed in Los Angeles. A black man was killed in Los Angeles in the last week or two. I think he was killed on New Year's Day. It was reported on January 9th, but he decided to go outside and shoot his gun off, celebrating the New Year. And an off-duty ICE agent killed him. And do you know they're trying to erase that? Mainstream media is trying to erase that information so that people aren't talking about that too, along with Renee Good and Mr. Peretti. Yes, Keith Porter Jr. Um, so people need to, the country needs a transformation, a paradigm shift, and a bunch of things in order to really understand what to do. Because once that transformation happens, and once that mindset changes, you will know what to do. You won't have to be told. You won't have to be told. They didn't have to tell us what to do in the 60s. We were all fucking unified. And nobody had to motivate anybody. Nobody had to listen to a million podcasts and lives and videos in order to unify. I wish I knew exactly what that mechanism was that caused that to happen in the 60s, where it's missing in this century. It's something. Um, Something is causing that to just phew, fly right over everybody's head of why that's not happening and why everybody sits back and says, when is Congress going to do something? They're not. When is the military going to do something? They're not. It's on we the people. And when we the people was created, black people weren't even thought of. We the people were white people. It's on you guys to have a different mindset, to have that paradigm shift and have that transformation personally before you will understand what it is you need to do. Um, I hear that every day. What do we do? What are we supposed to do? What do we do? What are we supposed to do? What do we? People are asking that because they're fucking ignorant. They don't know what's going on. They don't understand the history of this country as it pertains to fascism, racism, and white supremacy. Um, so, that what to do, what do I do? If they were told what to do, they wouldn't want to do it anyway. I've run into that. What we do, I'll tell them to do something. And they're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. It's a trick. It's a way of saying, well, if you don't tell me what to do in a way that I can accept it, then I'm not going to do anything. It's like a catch-22. Okay, Kimmy, who is Khalil Green? Who is Khalil Green? Um, I don't know if reading will put that in there because if reading things, there's still something that has to move that reading into an experience. There's still something inside that you just don't get from reading. I'm glad I experienced the 1960s and the civil rights movement. I wouldn't have known how to navigate life in in the way that I know if I hadn't gone through that. Um, like I'm not afraid of people. I'm not afraid to talk to people in public. Fuck the internet. The internet is a safety net that makes you guys not even have to engage your emotions or confront your fears or confront anything inside that is stuck. You can pretend to be anybody here out there on the internet. Um, he history. Huh. He writes about history. Even reading history, how are you going to move that history? How are you going to read that history in a way that moves you, makes you feel the experience so that it moves you to act? There's something missing about reading about history. If you don't know how to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, you're not going to be able to experience the feelings of the people that went through it. It's like slavery. Y'all don't know what it's like. But every black person knows what that's like without having have been there. We could put ourselves in other people's shoes better than anybody on the planet. Am I, Kimmy? Thank you. Thank you, hon. Um, there's something inside that has to be triggered in order for you to feel what people have gone through. Then you will know the appropriate amount of anger to have. We're disciplined in our anger. We can rechannel that shit. We've had to, because if we don't, they'll kill us. Um, but so the anger has to be channeled. I happen to do talks. I happen to have participated in a diversity training for veterans. I'm sorry, for doctors, interns going through the VA and stepping out to become doctors. And every single time I did a talk, they said that I turned their training into an experience. And I'm trying to understand how I did that. Um, I told them what it was like to be black, actually to be a black trans man in America today. I spoke from my heart. I spoke from my experiences. I spoke from a place that touched every single one of those interns. And then in turn, they could take that. They could take the emotions that I evoked, take that into their practice as doctors and wherever they ended up in the United States. I'm not sure the interns going through the VA in this area were going to become doctors in this area. They could have just been there for part of their training and then moved around the country. So something something needs to be said about the authenticity of which that I speak. I come on here because I know a bunch of people and I know exactly what's going on in the United States and I know exactly who's who and what's what and all that shit that you hear all the time ad nauseum around here. Um, I don't speak that way. I don't even engage in that. I want to engage in the human spirit, not necessarily what you fucking know book smarts about anything going on. All right, Kimmy. Um, because that's what's missing. I push on your apathy buttons. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Put yourself in my shoes. And if you don't know how to do that, find somebody black and ask them, what's your life been like? What is it like to be you? I heard that in a movie. What was that movie? The Help. Rarely do y'all ask us what it's like to be us. Because you're scared. You got fragility going on all over the fucking place. You're afraid we might tell you how it feels and then you'll feel bad and guilty. No, 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 no. We're not talking about you. We're talking about the system. Systemic racism doesn't necessarily mean you're involved in that. But if you don't know what it's like to be us, how you gonna put yourself in our shoes? If you don't know how to do that on your own, the only other way you could do that is by listening to us, by talking to us. Shut the fuck up and quit white splaining every time you open your mouth. You know what white splaining is? It drives me crazy. People around this platform are so busy trying to explain history to us when we were there. They try to explain it like they know something about it when they don't, not experientially. You can have all the book smarts in the world, have a memory like an elephant, but that doesn't mean you understand the experience of racism. You, hey, y'all gonna learn today because those fascists are now after you in the same way they were after us. So yes, silence is death, Kimmy. Learn to get out there and meet people and talk to them. Listen, learn to listen in a different way. Learn to listen like you're on the edge of your seat when you're listening to people instead of, oh, don't tell me something that's going to hurt my feelings. They have waged war on the American people, and war doesn't care about your fucking feelings. Sorry. Um, you're going to have to jump inside of them in order to experience the transformation that I'm talking about, in order to change your mindset, in order to shift your paradigm from which you listen, from which you speak, and from which you understand. What's really going on underneath all the shit that you see, exterior that you see? What is it provoking in you? Fight or flight? Um, but anyway, listen, I don't know. How long have I been talking, y'all? I have no idea. Oh, wow. I've been on here a while. I'm new to making lives on Substack. I have been kind of hiding out for 3 years. I don't haven't been making lives. I do have a YouTube channel um, called The Pollinator. Um, I have several YouTube channels, but that's the main one. And I haven't been making lives and stuff like that around here because I'm a different kind of a person that does lives. I'm not hooked into current events. I am, but I'm not. I talk about them in a completely different way. So, well, thank you, Kimmy. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Um, and I'm in the process of writing my story, writing my book. So I promise not to be on social media very much, not as much as I used to. In order to get that thing written, it's got to get written. Then, if I have it in my hands, then I can take it to editors. Um, I do have another book written, but it's only half of my story. And nobody wanted to edit it at that point. They wanted me to finish it. And 68 years, going on 69 years, is a long time to write about. Um, I didn't know how to pick out particular things about my entire life story in order to write about it. I was just writing everything. So, and I can't release it the way it is. I can't publish it like that. It's very incomplete that way. But when I'm able to finish this book, uh, I probably won't announce it until I have found an editor, and that's when I will be able to push that this book is coming. Um, but in the meantime, despite people feeling sad about it, you won't see me that much around here. Um, because I've got to get it done. I've got to buckle down and focus, find the discipline that I had in the military, and get it done. I'm a military Air Force veteran. That's what this symbol is. Um, but you all have a good rest of your Sunday. Uh, and Ray Gibson, which is my name, it's not just KingRayVet. Ray Gibson is out of here.